Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from whatever time zone you may be in. This is Off the Grid Podcast with Aiden and Jared.
You know, that's the truth.
And in this episode of our podcast, we're going to be talking about the Russia and Ukraine issue. It's a huge conflict going on right now.
Yeah.
Tensions are rising on the border of Ukraine. Russia has troops on the border.
At least 100,000.
At least as we speak right now.
Yes.
So yeah, this is getting kind of scary, guys. And I know, like, hey, this is a little bit different. We're not talking about COVID in this podcast.
Good.
No, we are not. We are not talking about COVID. So we're talking about something different for once, which I'm fine with because
It's still scary though, because it's like.
I mean, you know, we still got plenty to talk about with COVID.
New variant, apparently.
Yep. So
out of nowhere.
Exactly. Like, we'll come back to COVID, guys. So I know you guys.
Unless you guys don't want it, like let us know.
Let us know in the comments what you guys think. If you think we should, you know, kind of hang our hats on the whole COVID conversation right now, then let us know. So then, you know, we're not boring you to death or, you know, overstating stuff that, you know, you hear all the time. I know, you know, certain political shows, all they talk about is COVID. So
I can think of a couple.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, so we're going to talk about the Russia and Ukraine issue today, but before we get into that,
yes,
please do subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're also available on Spotify, Google Podcasts, and just those two, right? Oh, and Zeno Radio.
I was going to say, don't forget.
Yeah, that's an important one.
Our station, dude. Like,
well,
seriously.
Yeah, our station, but also connected to the station, you can just tap on what podcast you want to listen to.
Which I've found out about, I think. Wait, I told you.
Yeah, like you just go onto the Zeno app and what?
You type like
how do you get to the
episodes? I think you go under it and there's like
under episodes. Yeah,
something like that.
So yeah, search us up on the Zeno app if you guys.
Zeno.fm.
Zeno.fm specifically. We're also to check out our website as well.
Yes.
So. Yeah, there's also a listen live button at the top of the website that you can just click on.
Goes right to our Zeno, right?
Yep, goes right to the Zeno feed, so you get our WOTG radio feed right there. And yeah, it's kind of just our shows play on a loop there, so
yeah,
kind of a.
We have to be basically DJs though. I don't know if you guys know this, but like we have to basically be DJs though because like it doesn't automatically like I don't think the system is really good at switching it up yet, so I think we have to like.
Sometimes we have to switch it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's cool, though.
Yeah.
We have to be like little DJs, so.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, but
Speaking of, guys, I'm sorry. Still no music yet, I'm sorry, but like, Jared gave me a good idea, so I might try that out.
Yeah, maybe like start doing some remixes on things. We were just talking about like, you get like funny videos of different,
there's a guy on
like,
TikTok that does like.
songs and he puts memes in there.
Yeah.
And like splices them up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, so I think something like that, Aiden, you'd have fun with. I think. Yeah. Oh my god, dude.
Oh yeah.
Do it.
Yes.
Anyways, so how do you want to start this, Aiden? You want to go ahead and start it out?
So, Jared, I'm gonna just say this right now. This is kind of getting scary because I first thought that it was just like a little standoff, but I think it's going to have... We'll talk about this later, too, but I think it's honestly going to have worldwide implications. Do you think so? Why not? Like, do you agree? Do you not agree?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that, you know, hopefully it don't get into something where it's like a world war, you know, because last thing we need is another world war.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But we do... have a video for you guys in case you guys are thinking that this is just a small little standoff here. If you've been living on the walk and have been following the news, guys, this is...
Or how Biden put it, a small incursion.
Right, minor incursion or whatever, which we'll also talk about that.
That's
bullshit. But check this out, guys. This is pretty crazy.
This kind of gives you insight on what's going on at the border.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez, like... Look at all those trucks.
Yeah, and Russia's saying, oh, we're not going to attack.
Bullcrap.
And why do you have all these guys at the border?
Like metal detectors and stuff. Like, look at that. Jeez. Hiding in like little like houses and stuff. Tanks and stuff. Oh, gosh. Yeah, this is real. Oh, let's take that house out.
What was left of it?
Right? Yep, they're all self-funding drills, dude. Playbook drills. Jeez. Other countries already getting involved. And no battles have even started yet, you know? It's like... Jeez. Look at them on the little boats.
Yeah. Ooh.
Oh. Training for capturing, I guess, or something.
Wow.
So what do you think about that,
Could
Jay?
this
Oh, sorry about that. Video started to play. Yeah,
so what's
that
your
was.
perspective on that? What do you think?
Yeah, that kind of gives you an insight, makes it seem a lot more feasible. With a war between Russia and Ukraine. Now, what the question is whether the U.S. will get involved with it.
Yeah.
In a direct arms conflict with Russia. That's the big question, the big $1 million question. Is the United States going to get troops on the ground and getting actual fights with Russian troops? Now, it looks more like it.
Yeah.
Because,
it seems very likely right now.
Biden
Yeah.
was saying that he was going to send troops in, right? Or thinking about
something
it.
like that, yeah.
Which I applaud him for it,
Yeah.
actually.
Thank God, yeah.
So something I agree with him
something
on.
Something that he does right for once. Like,
Yeah, he's been wrong on pretty much every other foreign policy thing that he's ever been a part of.
yeah.
He's been on the wrong side of every one of them, but let's see if he's right about this and see if that's the right move. I for one don't like to sit idly by and let Russia just take Ukraine.
Especially Russia. Like,
yeah,
they got to think about these people. Like, they're a poor nation, kind of. I mean, at least from what I heard, I don't know.
Very
if that's,
poor. I heard that.
It's like they can't defend themselves. It's going to be a slaughter if they decide to go in. So it's like,
yeah. I'm sorry, but I'm pretty sure the U.S. still has that. Being the police of the world. At least that's how
yeah.
I've always
That's
described.
good, yes.
We're kind of the peacemakers
yeah.
we kind of go around and we see little conflicts and we get involved, some way, and what we think is right, and I think we kind of have a almost like a responsibility,
yeah,
to kind of try to prevent disastrous things from happening.
Yeah.
We've made mistakes.
Like a world war,
Yeah, I mean, we've made mistakes in the past where we got involved with stuff and we probably shouldn't.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll be looking back on this Ukraine and Russia conflict and be like, maybe we shouldn't have gotten involved in it.
But this is still unfolding, though. So.
Still unfolding. Right now, I think it's a good move to try to stop Russia in any way.
Yeah.
I heard something about, what was it? The UK was sending in troops as well.
And Canada. And Germany's doing something too, so it's like...
That has world implications, like you just said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez. And not even a declaration of war yet, and it's...
And the thing is, we probably won't see a declaration of war because...
just go into fighting.
Think about it. It's been how long has it been since Congress has declared war?
Right. 70 years since an actual, like, world war.
I mean, think about it. Like, the president pretty much has all the power now to declare war himself.
He's the...
maybe the Constitution...
Commander-in-Chief?
Yeah. As Commander-in-Chief, he has the ability to do that. But, like, back in the day, you had to go through Congress and get their approval.
Not anymore.
The rights to that has slowly shifted to the president over time, which I don't know.
Depends on the situation. It could
depends
be good
on
or
the
bad.
situation. Could be a good or bad thing. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think Congress should have the ability to decide that kind of thing?
I think it should at least
have some say in it.
Yeah.
Maybe not be the sole decider.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you're the leader of a nation, though. I mean, but still, it's like, one person having all the power, though, is still not.
Yeah, it's kind of a scary idea, especially when you got someone that's senile like Biden.
I am the Senate.
Yeah.
Like, seriously.
Fear me. Yeah. Anyways,
so why does Russia want Ukraine, right? This is one of the other $1 million questions, right?
Yeah.
Why do they want it at all? Because Putin's been focusing on Ukraine for what seems like months now.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, we're going to tell you guys why. So, Ukraine has become the focus of geopolitical attention in recent weeks as a Russian troop buildup along its eastern border has prompted threats of sanctions by the West and military deployment by NATO allies. Ukraine was part of the Soviet Union before it collapsed at the end of the Cold War in 1991, and it borders Russia to its east. The disintegration of the Soviet Union left Russia with a vastly depleted population, territory, and economy. It also diminished Russia's superpower status. Now Russian President Vladimir Putin is seeking to reclaim some of that glory and undo some of what Russia lost in the Cold War. So what does that sound like to you, Jared? First of all, from that first paragraph.
You know what it kind of sounds like? It kind of reminds me of Germany. Like how Germany acted at the end of World War I.
Yep.
Because there was like a period of time where Germany was disgraced from what happened. They felt like they were the laughing stock of the whole world. Mm-hmm. And they wanted payback. And they wanted to show that they were not weak like everyone made them out to be.
Yeah.
And I think that's what Russia's like, okay, look, this is what happened. We lost Ukraine back in 91 at the end of the Cold War, and we want to get it back. We want to show that we are powerful.
Yeah.
We want to show we're not a weak nation. We can stand up to the U.S. We can stand up to other countries like China.
Yeah.
You know, but the truth about it is, though, and I heard this just the other day, and I found it interesting. Russia's not as strong as you think they are.
No.
Their army is not as strong as the U.S.
Well, obviously. I mean,
at this moment in time. Now, maybe in the next 3 years of Biden's presidency, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
But right now,
they are the third most powerful military in the world, though, so we got to still keep an eye on them, though. I mean,
right, but they're also, I heard...
After China, funnily enough, though.
I was listening to a program, Andrew Klavan show, and he had a lady on that was, she's from Russia. She wrote a book called Putin's Playbook. I haven't read it, but it's like I think it's called Putin's Playbook, like world domination or something, like his plan to. It's basically Putin's plan to take over the U.S.
Jeez.
It's his secret playbook, and so this lady wrote a book about it, and because I guess she was involved in politics there, so she has some inside information.
She was like in the Kremlin.
Yeah, so she's like insider info here.
Yeah,
but. She wrote the book about that, and she basically said that Russia does not want to get in an armed conflict with the U.S. because they know...
They kick their ass?
Yeah, they're afraid of that. So they're trying to be very sneaky about taking over Ukraine. So the likelihood that they want to push the U.S. into getting in an armed conflict, they're going to try any way they can. Did you see what we did
in Japan, Russia? Like, you better watch your back. Like,
yeah. Like, let's hope this doesn't devolve into nuclear war.
Right. But, I mean, I don't know. I mean...
Still up in the air. I hope we're alive in a year to tell this.
Like, yes.
Yeah. Oh, that's scary to think about. And anyways, yeah, so this lady was very enlightening. She just opened up a lot about what Russia was really thinking.
Yeah.
I kind of want to read the book now.
Me too. He sounds like it makes Putin almost sound like a Hitler, kind of.
Yeah. But here's the funny part, and I'm like, this blew my mind. He has so much support within his own country.
Oh yeah.
Like we think.
Again, so did Hitler, though. I mean,
right? Yeah. I mean, he is.
At the time.
He has like a 60% approval rating, and like what Biden has like a low 30%.
Okay, but what with Russia though? How many of those numbers do you think
are true?
Right, like especially with the country it is.
Yeah,
that's authoritarian, not totalitarian, but authoritarian.
Yeah,
it's still though.
I don't know, but from what I understand, he has a lot of support within his own country. There's people that obviously don't support him, like we don't agree with anything he does.
The West, yeah,
right. You know, and we think that he's the most evil of all, leaders, and that he should be taken down. But then there's a lot of people within his own country that are like, that support him. And I'm like, I don't know how they support him.
He is a very good orator, though.
Yeah. Well, he's very...
Maybe that's why he has a way with words.
Yeah, because he has a way of...
In his interviews, he's charming and stuff. Like, he knows how to talk to people.
Yeah, which is the signs of a good leader.
It's a strength, yeah.
Yeah.
He has.
At least in a way of tricking people.
That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah. That's how he can gain support for something like this. Oh, excuse me.
Go ahead, Aiden.
So, continuing here. Okay, so Russia has repeatedly denied having plans to invade, but Moscow has massed 100,000 troops near the Ukrainian border and has been moving tanks, infantry fighting vehicles, rocket launchers, and other military equipment westward from bases in Russia's far east. In addition, Russia is moving troops and S-400 surface-to-air missile systems into Belarus, which borders Ukraine and NATO members Poland, Latvia, and Lithuania. Russia also has moved several ships near Ukraine's shores in the Black Sea and the Sea of Azov. In massing troops near Ukraine, Mr. Putin's goal is to extract consensus from Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky.
Vladimir Zelensky, I think, yeah.
And force him to give Russia a say in Ukraine's future. That would send a message to other former Soviet states that the West can't guarantee their security. To ratchet up the pressure, Mr. Putin has an array of military options short of a full occupation, from low-profile incursions to a limited conflict in the eastern Donbass region, where Russian-backed separatists have declared themselves independent of Ukraine but aren't recognized by the government in Kiev. Jeez. I forgot that's how that started, too, with the separatists.
And that was from the Wall Street Journal?
Yeah.
Okay.
WSJ, yep. So what do you think about all that?
Yeah, well, I call it bull crap when Putin says, "Oh, we're not going to invade."
Yep.
Then why do you have all those troops there?
100,000 of them. Like,
stop gaslighting me. I'm not stupid.
Not like bullshit. Like, you can't.
Well, I don't know. He's just going to keep saying that, and until there's that minor incursion that Biden was talking about.
What is separatist again? I'm sorry. Do you know what that means?
Say that again.
What's a separatist? Do you know what that means? Like.
Where was that at?
Russian-backed separatists. Is that just like...
Russian-backed, where was that at? In the final paragraph?
Yeah.
I think separatists?
Yeah.
Oh, hold on. I can look it up here real quick on here.
I think it just means like...
Define. It says a person who supports the separation of a particular group of people from a larger body on the basis of ethnicity, religion, or gender.
So basically, we were separatists when we voted against Britain?
Yeah.
Kind of? Okay, so another word for rebel?
Yeah.
Kind of? Okay, that makes sense.
And here's Biden on the conflict.
As if he wanted to open it. Wait. Oh, no, I think that's one video. Oh, wait. No,
yeah, this is the right one.
Never mind.
Here you go,
Check
people.
this out, guys.
Even as U.S. officials warn Russia now has enough troops in position to invade Ukraine, President Biden today appeared to suggest if Russia does a partial incursion, the U.S. could live with it.
Russia will be held accountable if it invades, and it depends on what it does. It's one thing if it's a minor incursion, and then we end up having to fight about what to do and not do, et cetera. But if they actually do what they're capable of doing with the force amassed on the border, it is going to be a disaster for Russia.
President Biden warned a significant Russian invasion, a massive operation, would trigger devastating economic consequences.
If they invade, they're going to pay. Their banks will not be able to deal in dollars.
But even when pressed, President Biden repeated that he sees a difference between a small and big military incursion in Ukraine, and that he expects one.
My guess is he will move in. He has to do something.
There is only one part of this country where Russia could launch a small incursion that could be in any way ambiguous. It's in the Far East, where pro-Russian separatists already control enclaves.
Let's talk about
and
that,
officials
guys.
in this country and very likely in Russia tonight are wondering, did President Biden just give Vladimir Putin a green light to launch an invasion into or around them?
I'd say so.
I would say that is a correct assumption there.
Mr.
Correct.
Laporta.
Yeah, good analysis there. It didn't take a
I'm
genius.
surprised from NBC that they actually made kind of a good analysis.
Yeah, kind of a good analysis. Didn't make any excuses for him. Just kind of stated the facts there. That was pretty good.
So, first of all, minor incursion. What?
What's the difference? Wait.
What's the difference, first of all? Like,
So what? The funny thing is what Shapiro said the other day. He's like about this whole thing. He's like, it's just the tip, just the tip.
oh my God.
Like, it's
No,
fine. Yeah.
we're going back to our last podcast. No, the women in the camps. No,
That was a great clip, guys. Can't wait until you guys see that clip on YouTube.
Oh, Joe's done some of his editing magic on that.
Yep,
one,
and
probably.
that clip will appear separate on YouTube
and
our
on
channel.
TikTok
And on
Maybe,
TikTok,
maybe,
yes.
if he wants to.
I'll do it in parts because it's a longer video.
Right.
It's a longer video, so it's gonna be longer than 3 minutes. I will assure you that.
Longer than 2 inches.
Shut up.
Oh.
Bruh.
Oh, I had to. So, Joe, do you want to make this one since you're all fired up about Biden?
Yes.
Check this out.
All right. So this is from the Daily Wire, favorite
I had
news
a good
source. Good research there, Aiden. So during a press conference on Wednesday, Biden spoke on the subject of rising tensions between Russia and Ukraine and appeared to downplay the impact of any invasion by categorizing one potential form of military action as a minor incursion. And he says, quote, "I think what you're going to see is that Russia will be held accountable if it invades," Biden said, "and it depends on what it does. It's one thing if it's a minor incursion, and then we end up having a fight about what to do and not to do, etc."
I like that.
And
End quote there.
yeah, end quote. "You said that Russia would be held accountable if it invades, and it depends on what it does. It's one thing if it's a minor incursion, and we end up having to fight about what to do and not to do," one reporter asked. "Are you saying that a minor incursion by Russia into Ukraine territory would not lead to the sanctions that you have threatened, or are you effectively giving Putin permission to make a small incursion into the country?" "Good question. That's how it did sound like, didn't it?" While laughing. "The most important thing to do, big nations can't bluff, number one."
Good voice.
You're welcome.
Joe, it's so just
My God, dude. Like,
so incompetent. Like,
you need to
everything.
stand firm. If this was Trump in office, he would have been standing firm and said, if Russia does anything to destroy the sovereignty of Ukraine,
we're gonna fix you a new ass. Like,
yeah, we're
seriously,
gonna put a boot in your ass. Like,
Yeah.
that's the American way, as a country song would go.
Yes.
But yeah, when I think of that song, I
Thinking
get
Toby
like,
Keith. Yes.
put a boot in your
Yes.
ass. It's the American
It's so
way.
good. It's so good.
Oh my God, dude! Like, I love that.
I think it's talking about liberals there, but
We should have had that song to play to start this.
what? Dang.
I should have had that queued up, but
Seriously though, like that's what we should be doing. But no, Biden's a pansy.
a little bitch. I don't know what that was.
He's a pansy, though. Like, seriously.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't know what the hell he's talking about, and like
Putin's got him like in a back up against the wall.
I don't feel safe with Biden at the helm making the decisions whether to attack Ukraine. I mean, not attack Ukraine, attack Russia.
Yeah,
because
think about this, okay, Judd. He went up against a ragtag group of terrorists in Afghanistan,
and he still lost.
It's chaos there right now. It scares me that he's trying to go up against an actual army with... See, this is what scares me, and I've told you this before. Before we started this podcast, I've told you this. He lost against a group of terrorists who aren't even really that connected, who don't have
it together.
Formal military.
Yeah.
Now he's trying to go up against an actual country with a president that has a formal military, tanks, helicopters. How is this going to go?
Yeah, this is a true test of Biden's presidency, if the last one wasn't. This one certainly is. It's
an actual military.
Yeah, it's an actual military.
This is crazy. Like,
he's
gonna get slaughtered. Like, Russia ain't messing around. Like, they don't. Putin's making that very clear.
Yeah. Well, actually,
I mean, at least Putin's brutally honest. I mean, he's an asshole, but at least he knows what he's doing. And at least he knows what he wants.
Putin hasn't really made it clear, per se, because he has been kind of trying to throw a smoke screen up and say, oh, no, we're not attacking.
He's smart, though, is what I'm saying. He's trying to...
Yeah, and that's the thing.
He's a lot smarter than Biden, I'll say that much. I mean, I will give him that.
And what I think he's going to do, instead of, like, putting boots on the ground and actually going to evade, because...
Putin, you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Instead of Putin just sending the troops in, I think this is used as a scare tactic. And then what he's going to do is a cyber attack on Ukraine.
Yeah, but he's already done that, though. Multiple.
Well, he's just going to keep doing more.
Dude, at some point you're going to have to actually invade, though, if you want the country. Though. You know that. I mean...
Right, but he's going to want to avoid any U.S. conflict, right? Any U.S. involvement?
He's going to come up with some sort of threat. Well...
But doesn't he kind of have, like, the rest of Europe, like, under his thumb? In terms of, like, he has oil and...
Right.
And he controls a lot of that?
He can use that against us, is what I'm saying.
He wouldn't have to... The UK's like, oh, don't attack. We're going to send troops in. Okay. No oil for you.
That's what I'm saying. Like, Yeah.
And then...
He can beat us. It's just different methods.
And then you got Biden, who's destroying our energy independence by getting rid... He got rid of that Key XL pipeline on his second day in office.
And we'll talk about the economics of it later, because they actually do have a... That's probably the next actual section.
Yeah.
But,
and he's empowering these other countries to be energy independent, and then here's us. We're going to be more dependent on countries like Russia before you know it. And we're already dependent. We've already been dependent on China for years. The last thing we need to do...
Russia is actually, I think, the number one oil
country in the world.
Yeah.
Oh,
which is scary. We just use more of it, I think, than they do because we have more people.
Right.
But when it comes to actually holding oil, no, they beat us by far.
Mm.
So imagine if they want to just take it away from us. They could do that, like that.
Yeah.
You want to put in your tanks on soil? Nope. Couldn't do anything without oil, Biden. So speaking of oil and economics, right?
Yes.
Sanctions. So do you want to explain to them what sanctions are, though, first, before we get into this?
Well,
maybe this will explain it better, yeah.
Yeah, let me, what's a good definition of sanctions? Maybe I guess it helps if we have internet. It's trying to connect here. But anyways, let me just kind of make a guess here, what sanctions mean.
Economic rules, right? Basically
it's basically like an economic, I don't have a exact definition in front of me here, but sanctions are basically a way to to put an economic pressure on a country to get a certain outcome.
Yeah. Yep.
Is basically what it is.
You hit that on the head, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
we're trying to use those with Russia, right?
We're trying to use it in our to help us out, and also to not have to go into a direct conflict with Russia. Like, they're hoping that the sanctions will be enough. But I'm going to be honest with you.
You were saying that you don't think it's going to do crap, right?
I don't think it's going to do jack squat because Russia and Vladimir Putin himself, he already has his mind made up. He's going in.
He has control of the oil. He doesn't need us, first of all.
Yeah, and even if we did do some economic damage to Russia, like...
That's only going to piss him off.
Yeah, it's only going to, piss him off a little bit, but then he's also going to be like, well, I'm going to go in anyway and still take over Ukraine. What the heck does that... I'll deal with those economic issues later. Let me just get Ukraine, and then... Yeah. And then what?
And then let me shut down the whole world's oil.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, let me
that's scary.
It's a double whammy there. Because you're taking over Ukraine, and you're shutting the oil off to the rest of Europe.
Did you know, I don't know if this is true or not, but I read something like over 60% of Europe depends on Russia for the oil.
I believe it.
Can you imagine if they... Oh, my God.
That's scary.
Yeah.
That's a scary thought.
Yeah.
Oh,
my gosh, dude.
So do you want to read this section, or do you want me to?
Yeah. Or unless they want to take turns with each paragraph or something like that. I don't know.
Go ahead.
Okay, so economic sanctions remain one of the world's most powerful tools the United States has in its foreign policy arsenal. And as Russian forces continue to amass along the border with Ukraine, officials in the U.S. hope the threat of those sanctions can show a full-scale invasion.
Which, sanctions make sense when you got a huge country like the U.S., who has control over a lot of different things.
Yeah.
But say if you're a small country, like in South Africa, are they going to have that power to do sanctions? No. Sanctions aren't out of the question for countries like that. But the U.S., since we're such a large country and we got other resources and stuff that people want, we can do sanctions. Now, the question is, will the sanctions actually work?
I don't think so.
Because if Putin already has his mind made up, it doesn't matter. Anyways.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So, quote, the thing about sanctions is the most effective if you don't have to use them, end quote. Said Olga.
Said Olga. That's such a Russian name. Olga.
Program Director, Europe and Central Asia, and at the International Crisis Group. Quote, the most effective if you can credibly threaten something that the other guy doesn't want enough. Doesn't want it enough that they don't then do whatever it is you're trying to keep them from doing, end quote. Okay, I got it.
That's a doozy of a sentence.
Right? Besides sanctions that target individuals or specific companies, some proposals involve cutting Russia off from the SWIFT system, which would remove Russian institutions from an important global financial network. Another target is a near-completed Nord Stream 2 gas pipeline, which, when operational, would double the amount of natural gas moved from Russia to Germany through the Baltic Sea and likely reduce the need for other pipelines, such as the Uruguay Pomeranians. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. Warsaw pipeline that runs through Ukraine.
Yeah.
All right. What else? Do you have anything else on there or what? So
I don't think. Oh yeah, sorry.
Okay.
There was one more.
Quote, Ukraine's army is not the same military that it had when Russia invaded Crimea. Sahin said in an interview with CNBC.com, quote, They have had their weapon systems upgraded. The United States has supported them in that. We've had trainers from both NATO and the United States working in the country. So the circumstances are very different than they were when Russia went into Crimea. We need to do everything possible to make clear to Putin that this is going to be a united response should he take this action, end quote. Do you know what Crimea was? Do you know anything about that?
I don't know much about that conflict. I know that Russia went in and took over Crimea.
They basically annexed it.
Yeah.
Which was a huge deal. That happened back in 2014?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
that was a huge deal. Let me just say that.
Yeah.
You guys can research that if you want. I mean, I recommend it if you want to understand this conflict more, but...
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a huge deal.
No, but I think that this is just another Crimea
It's going to be worse than I think, yeah.
But I think more implications in the sense that I think other countries are going to get involved in it.
Oh, yeah.
There's probably going to be some casualties, especially on the U.S. side if we decide to go in. And it's like you want...
Biden's going to have more blood on his hands.
And, like, I agree with him, like, getting involved in it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, you don't want to see...
You need to do it right.
Yeah, and you don't want to see, like, U.S. lives killed on Ukraine soil at the hands of the Russians.
Yeah.
Like, I was not a big fan of, the people dying in Afghanistan.
13 deaths.
Yeah. But, and I don't know. I mean,
it's going to be a lot more in this conflict.
And the thing is, though, this whole situation in Ukraine is turning out to be kind of like Afghanistan in a way.
It's going to be worse, though.
There's worse, but there's similarities because they are evacuating people at
get out of my freaking head.
Yeah.
I was just going to say that. They're evacuating people out of embassies. Diplomats.
Yeah.
Yes.
This
next section will probably talk about that. And then, Joe, you could talk about this one if you want, but
yeah.
For now, though, let's just say that, they're evacuating.
And that past article was from CNBC, by the way.
Yes. This one is also from them.
So this one's from NBC.
So, dude, but seriously, though, before that, think about that, dude. They had to evacuate their embassy.
Yeah, that's a sign that the country's going down. If the U.S. thinks that, oh, hey, there's a clear imminent threat, we need to get troops out, or get people out at least.
Yeah.
We don't want to risk American lives, at least ones that are not, militarily trained.
Yeah. That's going down for real. Seriously.
It's going down for real. I don't know. It's scary.
All right, Jet, so what is this one about, right? So basically, not only are the diplomats being evacuated, right?
Yeah.
But our U.S. troops right now are being placed on high alert, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what is this all about?
So the United States is discussing the deployment of American military forces to Eastern Europe with its NATO allies, a senior administration official said Monday, as President Joe Biden weighs options for responding to Russian threats against Ukraine. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin has placed 8,500 troops on heightened alert to assist with the defense of NATO allies. Pentagon spokesman John Kirby said during a news briefing Monday, he said, no deployment orders have been given. Quote, I want to reinforce that as of now, the decision has been made to put these units on higher alert and higher alert only, said Kirby. No decisions have been made to deploy forces from the United States at this time, end quote. With Moscow massing more than 100,000 troops at its neighbor's border.
Wait, pause that for a second.
Yeah.
Think about that freaking number, first of all.
What, 100,000 troops?
We haven't really talked about that yet. I'm sorry, guys. We should talk about that earlier, but and picture that in your head.
That's a lot of bodies.
That's a lot of soldiers surrounding your little country.
Yeah. And he's not going to attack.
Bullcrap. 100,000. I mean, I know that doesn't seem like a lot, but that's freaking crazy. They said at least. It could be a lot more.
Very well could be, yeah.
Anyway, that's just insane to me.
With Moscow massing more than 100,000 troops at its neighbor's border and no diplomatic breakthrough in sight, the West is stepping up its response and, amid mounting fears an invasion could be imminent, conversations are underway with NATO countries that could receive U.S. military forces as part of a plan to deter Russian President Vladimir Putin's aggression, the official said. NATO said Monday that it was sending ships and fighter jets to Eastern Europe.
Yeah, NATO.
Finally, they're doing something that is helpful. And that Washington...
No, dude, they've always been pretty good. NATO's always been pretty cool.
Okay. Well, I don't know. I always thought that...
At least from what I understand. I think you're confusing them with the UN.
Oh, yeah, that could be it. Quote, has also made clear that it is considering increasing its military presence in the eastern part of the alliance. End quote.
You know who NATO is, right?
Yeah.
They're the North Atlantic Treaty, basically.
Yeah.
It's signed during the Cold War. That's a bunch of cool history if you want to check up on it. But, yeah.
Biden participated in a roughly 90-minute video conference with European leaders Monday afternoon to discuss Russia's military buildup on Ukraine's borders, the White House said. Now just think about that. 90 whole minutes of Biden bumbling and fumbling in a conversation with
himself with other world leaders.
Well, I'm sure he's talking about what ice cream he ate before he came to the interview or the conference with these leaders. He'd be like, "Wait, I thought we were talking about the issue in Ukraine." Oh yeah, you're right.
Was it Camp David having ice cream?
Yeah.
Hold on, guys. Let me make sure I have it right. Yeah, I was right. It is the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. So I was right.
But NATO actually does stuff, unlike the UN.
Yeah, they're military. So
Yeah.
UN is just a bunch of climate-loving hippies.
Yeah, got that right.
Cool, but but NATO actually does crap. Like, they're pretty cool.
Oh,
Pretty cool.
yeah. NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg, British Prime Minister Boris Johnson, Polish President Andrzej
He almost
Duda.
died from COVID.
Who?
Boris Johnson? He was infected with COVID. You remember that?
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
He's okay.
Yeah.
French President Emmanuel Macron.
That dude. Makes me so mad.
He doesn't do crap.
No.
German Chancellor Olaf Scholz, I think is how you pronounce it.
Yeah.
Italian Prime Minister Mario Draghi, and other leaders participated in the call.
Macron, you're so messed up. You guys are having a bunch of... What, you remember the yellow jacket thing we talked about?
Yeah.
Like, God
The
dang.
whole protests.
Yeah.
We did a podcast on it, right?
Yeah, he's messing up our country.
Yeah. Following the video conference, Biden told reporters it was, quote, very, very,
It was
very,
a very, very good meeting. That did not sound like Biden at all. I'm so sorry, guys.
very, very, very good meeting. Adding that there was, quote, total unanimity with European leaders. The president said he would have more to say on the issue later after he takes his nap. No, I'm just kidding. That doesn't say
After
that.
I go to Camp David and relax for a little bit and watch some Matlock.
Yeah. In a
That's your feel
statement,
for it.
yeah, what the hell does he do half the time? In a statement, the White House said Biden and European leaders, quote, reiterated their continued concern about the Russian military buildup on Ukraine's borders and expressed their support for Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity. Okay, well, we'll see about that. The White House said the leaders, quote, underscored their, shared desire for a diplomatic resolution and also discussed their joint efforts to deter further Russian aggression against Ukraine, end quote. Biden was briefed by Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin on Saturday about U.S. options for responding if Russia invades Ukraine, as well as options for U.S. military movements in advance of an invasion, according to a defense official and senior administration official.
Huh.
So among the options presented for the U.S. military in advance of an invasion were bomber flights over the region, ship visits into the Black Sea, and the moving of troops and some equipment from other parts of Europe into Poland, Romania, and other countries neighboring Ukraine. Well, I'm assuming it's not the equipment that you left in Afghanistan.
Biden.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyways. So what do you think, like...
They're calling it lethal aid, I think.
Yeah.
If you've heard that term thrown around lately.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
So what's your
What it's going to do? I don't know.
What do you think the U.S. Like, if you had to make a prediction now, what do you think the U.S. would do? I mean, judging on the past,
I hope it bombed the shit out of Russia.
Yeah. Blow them off the face of the map.
Right.
Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe just blow Putin off the face of the map.
Destroy his palace or something. Send in the seals and just...
If it is true that, like, Putin is loved that much in the country, I mean, like, these people have to be brainwashed.
Like North Korea.
Yeah.
Huh. Who else did a podcast on, guys? Check that out.
Yeah, which that was a funny podcast, guys.
It was. The thumbnail still gets me.
We had so much fun with that.
Kind of an older one though. Not as good audio as we have now. So.
Oh yeah, like this is sultry.
So good.
That's a little actually scary. Anyways, yeah.
That's all I do.
You scout me.
Never mind, guys. Never mind. The stuff we say off the AO2 is so funny. Just say it during our tests and stuff.
Oh my god. At least it's getting better with getting set up before the podcast.
Oh,
like,
yeah. If the stupid laptop that would.
The nice thing is the board remembers all the presets we had, so it's pretty nice.
It is. Anyways,
now I just wish my laptop would work better.
Wait, the only thing that's not doing right now is reconnecting into the freaking internet.
Thankfully, I don't think we need to click on anything right now, right?
Nope.
So we're okay.
There's no videos to.
It was a good thing we used
did it when
Google
we did,
Docs.
yes.
Yeah, I'm like, oh my god.
Oh my gosh, can you imagine?
Like, I don't have time to try to reset this when we're trying to do a podcast.
Right.
So
anyways, the joys of podcasting, guys. You guys don't realize how much time it takes to make one of these things for you guys, which we enjoy it, but sometimes it's just like
the setup.
why?
Sometimes, like, oh my god,
Why?
like why? Anyways, so as we said numerous times before, there's worldwide implications of an invasion.
Maybe not a world war, but definitely implications. Oh, definitely.
Like, you don't know if
you can't have Russia invade a country,
and
Russia,
not
and
have
world
other
war implications because of this. Yes.
Right. Not saying it could get to a world war quite.
No.
We'll have to see.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Can you read some of this?
Yeah, I can read it. This is from
Forbes.
Forbes.
I wanted to kind of focus on some economic aspects of it too.
Yeah.
This will blow your mind, Judd.
So the conflict between Russia and Ukraine could spill into international energy markets. If Russia sent its troops into the heart of Ukraine, it could spell the end of Nord Stream 2, an $11 billion natural gas pipeline. Germany, which is withholding approval of the line, warns of a high price if it invades Ukraine. Ooh, that could have some implications on Russia if they went ahead and decided to invade.
It gets better. It gets better, Judd.
This begs the question of who has the most power: the Russians feeding an energy-starved Europe, or the Western allies, which can, quote, blacklist President Putin and Russia. Because Russia got away with taking Crimea from Ukraine in 2014, it may reason that any aggression would be met with a feeble response, mainly because Nord Stream 2 would provide 15% of Europe's natural gas.
That doesn't sound like a lot, but that's a huge number.
That is a huge number, yeah. But a takeover would come with significant costs. The Europeans may depend on Russian natural gas, but they have other options. And the United States wants to be a more prominent supplier of liquefied natural gas, or LNG, albeit at a higher price than Russian natural gas.
That's the kicker.
Yeah.
Higher price.
Yeah. Wait, so the United States wants to be a more prominent supplier of natural gas.
But it costs more, though.
But it costs
That's
more
why everyone uses Russians, because the price is lower.
So,
at least that's how I'm reading it.
So if the United States was to drop the price some,
we won't. You know, Biden, he's not.
I mean, if it was that could be a smart choice.
Yeah,
though.
he should. He really should. But I
because it make people dependent on us.
Right, but then he could just send ships in and block the whole pipeline to begin with. So I mean,
right?
You know what I mean? It wouldn't even matter. So Putin's way too smart for Biden. I mean, I'm sorry, but he's just smart. I will give him that. He's evil and he's an asshole, but he is smart.
Yeah,
he knows what he's doing. Like,
I don't think Biden has the wit.
Why do you think he's choosing to invade Ukraine now?
Exactly, and I've heard this from multiple political commentators.
He was scared.
Yeah, and that's the thing. We needed a leader in our country that puts the fear of God in these other leaders.
Yes.
You know, it's like, okay, well, I got the press of a button here. Nukes.
Drop the sun on you.
I got all the power in the world.
Yeah.
I have the army at my fingertips.
Trump flaunted it too, and did you just see him talk about ISIS?
Yeah.
Like, dang, like...
You know what the nice thing about Trump was? And, you know...
We need him back 2024. Let's go.
Oh my God, let's go, please.
Yeah. We need you back, man.
But
seriously.
Think about this, though. It's like Trump had all that power, and he threatened a lot of other countries with...
He pissed off a lot of people.
And he's like, if you do this, you're going to get that. But guess what?
I love it.
But guess what? Trump didn't do any of that. He never went through, and he actually didn't use that military might.
He just used scale tactics. Yes.
Yeah.
Which is what Biden should be doing, but...
Yeah, but guess what?
He should be saying stuff like, we'll drop the sun on you if you...
But the thing, the lack of Biden, you know, bringing the hammer down, or the threat of bringing the hammer down, is why Biden's in this point now.
Yeah.
If Biden had the cojones to stand up to these other countries, they'd be scared of him, and then he wouldn't have to use military might at all. All he would say is, you know, I got the military at my hand, watch out. But since...
At the press of a button, I can end you. Yeah.
Right, but at the press of a button, I can end you. But since the left is so worried about, you know, internal
Equality.
issues, equity...
I'm sorry, I went completely off the rails of that.
No, you're right about it. Internal issues, equality within our own country, and not worrying about the threats outside of it. They're like, oh, well, they're worried about this LGBTQ plus rights and not worried about.
Okay, hold on. The only problem I see with that though is then we also complain about our own country though. So where does?
No, what I'm saying is that
I'm
they're
not understanding. I guess
maybe I didn't express well enough. What I'm trying to say is that the left likes to say our country is evil for the things we have committed.
Yep.
We're more concerned about our own issues, saying we should not be the police of the world because we have our own issues. We can't.
Okay,
we
then
can't look
my
at
response is I agree with you. And who else can be the police of the world? Name me one country
that has the power to do that.
Yeah, no one.
No one.
The only country that can is being evil right now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it has the power to. I'm talking about Russia here, but China won't do anything either. I mean, they're powerful enough that they can't. They're not gonna. Which I will get into that whole thing now because there are rumors right now, guys. This is, I don't know if Joe knows this, but since Russia's invading Ukraine, China might be making up plans to invade Taiwan.
Yeah.
So
that was another. Thanks for bringing that up, Aiden. But like,
they're gonna be inspired by Russia, kind of. At least that's how I feel.
Not necessarily inspired, but like use it as a decoy. Like,
yeah.
Look,
well, everyone's distracted with Russia.
Well, this whole huge issue here. Oh, we're just gonna snag Taiwan here real quick. Just reach our hand out. Like, oh, look, you didn't see that.
Like I said, World War.
Taiwan, who?
Like I said, World War. Like,
yeah. Like, what if?
Dude, this is what I'm saying.
Think about that for a second.
Like at least in my mind, all of these lines are intersecting. I don't know if you can see this, but like it's all intersecting. It's going to be one worldwide conflict. I swear.
Like there's shit coming down the pike.
Right. Yeah. Russia's going to invade Ukraine. China's maybe inspiration not the right word, but they're going to use that as a decoy. They're going to invade Taiwan. We're going to get pissed. We're going to fire at both of them. They're going to retaliate, and it's all just going to
divide and conquer.
Right. Yep.
If you split the U.S. into too many directions
at the same time, too many fronts. We're going to worry about China and Russia. Imagine that.
I mean, you've seen that in World War II. Germany fighting on two fronts.
Yep.
That's a recipe
for disaster.
Recipe for disaster.
Yes. Think about that. See, that's what I'm telling you about. Like another World War, dude. I'm serious.
I didn't even think about that before. Like fighting on two fronts at the same time. That's. I mean, I understand we're like one of the strongest countries.
And it's Biden.
Yeah.
He can't fight a ragtag group of terrorists, let alone two fronts of two whole nations. Oh my gosh, they're going to slaughter us.
We're in trouble.
Yeah. I say so.
We are in trouble. It's the end of the world as we know it.
Yes, like seriously, like, oh my gosh. Do you think they're going to use nukes, though?
It's the fall of the Republic, guys. You're seeing it in real time.
People didn't think about that, did you? Like,
no, I mean, listen, dude. People are saying that like this is the end of the American experiment. Like we're falling to the end. Like just like with Roman Empire.
Dude, I swear to God, what is America? Let me ask you that question. Think about it. Think about it. What is America?
An empire.
What have we done? Manifest destiny, right? We conquered other lands for the oil. We've tried to instill freedom in countries that probably have no concept of what freedom even is, so that falls.
Or don't really care about it.
We tried to instill democracy in nations like Iraq, and they completely fall because they either don't understand or they don't want that. So we end up just destroying countries. That's what we do. I mean, I'm sorry to say this, guys. I am a conservative. Obviously, we're both conservatives. We both fully support our military. This isn't the soldiers' fault.
Right.
This is the politicians' fault of what I'm going to say right now. We go into countries, promise them democracy, and then freaking leave and leave them to die.
We leave them high and dry.
We've always done that, always. Whether it's Vietnam, Iraq, Afghanistan, we've always done that. And this isn't the soldiers' fault. I'm not saying that at all.
And, that's kind of the issue.
We go into these countries, we leave them to die when we leave.
Right. And dude,
we get what we want out of them when we leave.
Part of the reason, and I'm not saying it's, there's always downsides and there's always negatives and positives
every
to
country.
like every country
Absolutely,
and how they operate.
Absolutely.
But like our election system is like every 4 years we get a new president.
Yeah. Do you think that shouldn't be?
Now we probably should have had Trump for another whole term.
That's just our opinion, though.
That's my opinion on it.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
But
I agree with that.
you know, if that's how the ups and downs, ebbs and flows of our democracy is like every other.
Speaking of ups and downs, that TikTok I sent you last night, that was so funny.
What was that?
About the COVID?
Oh. Oh my god, that was hilarious.
Oh, it's funny.
But anyways, like, you know, that's just kind of a negative of our country. You know, like that's the thing, dude. When we have one leader say Trump started a war in this country,
Yeah.
and then, you know, Biden came in and was like, all right, let's end it. But then they're like, well, what about the support? You guys just told us for 4 years you were going to support us. Well, we got a new leader now, so this new leader doesn't want to do it. You know, but
Support this country, you're saying?
yeah, doesn't want to support.
That's what we do.
That's what we do.
We are the kid that leaves messes that doesn't offer to clean up afterwards.
Good analogy. Good analogy.
Like, seriously, like...
Oh my god, that's so true.
Like, seriously, like, dude, like, I mean, and yes, you guys can debate us in the comments about, oh, Iraq had Saddam Hussein, and he was a horrible dictator. Absolutely true.
Mm-hmm.
But we didn't do anything when we left, though. We get what we want. We are all imperialists. I'm sorry. We invade countries. We get what we want from them, and then we leave.
Yeah.
I mean, and yes, I know they attacked us on 9/11, and don't get me wrong. Horrified by it. Absolutely horrible attack should never have happened. But maybe there's a reason why they did it. Maybe it's because for the past 20 years before that, we were invading their country and taking everything from them.
Yeah.
And Reagan, I think, was the president before Bush, right? If I remember correctly, or maybe it was Bush's father. Whoever it was.
Yeah.
They were supplying them with weapons to beat the Soviets back in Afghanistan. Look what happened.
Yeah.
They turned into terrorists. We caused 9/11. I mean, if you think about it.
Yeah. And
Sure was terrorists that flew planes into the buildings, but we caused it.
I also heard that it's, you know, tying in with that, it's part of our weakness as we were weak at the time.
Yep.
Thing is, when we go weak on the world stage,
They take notice.
They take notice, and we open ourselves up to attacks.
Yeah.
And that's exactly like, you know, like we're going.
We
weak
like to
now.
think they were so powerful and so.
It all depends on who's
We're
president.
just big bullies, though. No, dude, us as a country, it doesn't really matter who's in charge. We've always been imperialist. We always invade, no matter who it is. We always invade countries and take things.
No,
from
I agree with you.
Yeah.
You're preaching to the choir here. What I'm saying is that, you know, we're not. We kind of go back and forth because like Trump was really strong on the world stage.
Yeah.
And he didn't take shit from anybody.
Yeah.
But like Biden,
That part of it, I got you.
You know,
he hides and Yep.
That's why
Yeah.
we open ourselves up to attacks, because we're not always consistent.
So you're saying, yes, we have that one, but we should still have security in our country so that we can't be attacked. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, even if, no
Yeah.
matter what side of the issue you're on, when you're talking about Afghanistan, it was a bad idea to move out completely from the country.
I think it was a bad idea to invade in the first place, but like, that's what we do, though. I mean, I keep going
Right.
back to that. I'm sorry, but like, that's what we do.
And, you know, I think it's a case-by-case basis, whether you should invade another country or not.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know, I mean, it's not a blanket idea that you can just cover everything and be like, oh, well, we don't want to be imperialists. Well, certain things need to be prevented from happening. Like we talk about North Korea and South Korea. If we're not there at the border,
Yeah.
what do you think Kim Jong-un's going to do?
That's not what I'm talking about, imperialism. That I'm fine with that. What I don't like is maybe an exception could be made for Iraq because that was right after 9/11. We needed to do something. I do agree with that. But
Yeah.
sending helicopters and planes into a country with people that don't really have any technology to defend themselves and basically taking over the country and basically saying, here's a new government, basically.
Yeah.
You either agree with it or...
Whether they want it or not.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like, if they wanted an actual democracy, then help them out.
Mm-hmm.
But if they do not want a democracy, then why are we putting our work into it?
Let them kill
Is
each
that
other.
what you're going for?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let them kill each other. I mean, I'm
And
sorry to say it, but like...
And maybe that's the big $1 million decision here with Ukraine.
Yep.
Tying it back into that. Does Ukraine want us to help them? Are they?
And if they don't, maybe we should leave it.
Are they screaming for help?
Did you see what Ukrainian president was saying about Biden? He was going off on him.
Yeah.
It's just, here's your sign. Like,
well, think about this, dude. I mean, Ukraine said that they wanted to join the UN.
Yeah.
And Russia.
No, do you want to join NATO?
One of the two.
I think it was NATO. I think.
But Russia did not want Ukraine to join either one of those.
Reasons, yeah, for obvious reasons.
Because that would bar them from doing
Their
any
plans.
attack.
Yeah, their plans. Yes.
Yeah, they want to take over Ukraine. They want to annex them.
Funnily enough, this is weird too. I don't know if you know this.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of Russians identify with Ukraine for some reason. I don't know exactly why. You're gonna have to go.
Like,
I have to go into history with like.
You mean identify as in support them?
Yeah,
and not support Russia?
No, like they feel that the Ukrainians are Russians.
Oh, you mean like they want them annexed?
Yeah.
As part of their country.
Yep.
Okay.
Because back during the Soviet Union days, they were so like.
Well, yeah, it wasn't. Think about it. It wasn't even that long ago.
Yeah.
Back in 91.
91. Yeah.
Like that was just several years before we were
born. A lot of Russians
born.
identify with Ukraine because of that.
Yeah.
That's how that works, huh?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it makes sense what you're saying because a lot of if that's true that Putin has 60% approval rating, that would make sense because like Putin's like, hey, let's go in and attack Ukraine, and then everyone's like, yeah.
Well, he can put it in a picture like it's not really a different country if you look at it. It's still us.
Well, and
we're just taking it back.
Yeah, Putin's just like, hey, this is what happened. We got disgraced back in 91.
It was horrible.
And made us fools. Yeah. Made us look like fools.
We're just taking our country back, basically, is what he's saying. Yeah.
We're just going back to glory, our former glory.
He doesn't even have to use the word invade our country.
Yeah. And from what I understand, now I don't know if you knew about this or not, and I just heard about this the other day.
And then we'll get back to the economic part of it, guys, but this is really interesting. We're having a good talk here.
So they were saying that that Russia at one point, and I think this was at the end of the Cold War, they were going through a period of time turmoil, like as the Soviet Union fell.
Yep.
They were trying to go towards a democracy.
Look how that worked out for them.
Well, that didn't work out real well, and they had a lot of economic issues within their country at the time. Now,
the U.S., I'm sorry to say this, but I think the U.S. is really the only one to have that on lock. Like,
it's hard.
So long.
Now, going back to it, like, the Russians had issues. I heard they had issues with trying to become a democracy.
Yeah.
The people struggled.
Yeah.
They suffered through economic hardships. And when Putin came into power, he's like, we're going to change this and this and this. And he brought Russia back up somewhat.
Why do you think he has such a high approval rating?
Because he brought Russia back.
From the brink of collapse, yes.
And they blame democracy for that fall.
Yep.
Which it isn't democracy's fault.
It's just the timing of it.
The timing was really bad.
Yeah. Yep. You need a scapegoat, right?
Yeah. So they're going
to blame democracy. Hence, why do you think they hate the U.S.?
Yeah.
Because we're
the face of democracy.
Absolutely. Well, at least we're supposed to be.
We're kind of going away from that, but
no, I mean we have no. My thing going back to the thing about invading countries, but we're supposed to be invade nations and.
Anyways, where was I at? Notably,
energy.
Yeah. Notably, energy.
Back to the article, guys.
Yeah, sorry, we kind of went on a soapbox there for a little bit of a debate.
Yes.
Which doesn't actually happen that often because we agree mostly on stuff.
Yeah. Which is good. Yeah.
But we found common ground on that.
I'm glad we disagree a little bit though. That makes for a good podcast.
Yeah. So
notably, right?
Notably, energy revenues make up nearly 2/3 of Russia's income. Still, some experts say that the line is unnecessary, that Russia built the project to circumvent Ukraine and to stop paying it transit fees. Quote, there is already ample pipeline capacity, says Surya Jayanti, International Energy Council for the U.S. Department of Commerce, during a roundtable in which this reporter was a panelist. Quote, Nord Stream 2 is a political project. It does not enhance energy security. We are not in competition with Nord Stream 2. We are trying to keep Russia from having more energy dominance over Europe. President Putin has already decided not to increase exports so he can force Germany's regulator to approve the project. It is a geopolitical weapon, end quote.
That's true about that.
Russia now supplies 39% of Europe's natural gas, and oh, wow.
Yeah.
The United States supplies
3.5%.
3.5%.
Measly 3.5%. Yeah.
I think that's another reason why we're not as powerful over in Europe.
Yeah.
Europe is building more LNG receiving terminals to diversify its supplies, but Russian natural gas prices are 40% cheaper than LNG spot
basically
prices.
hours, yeah.
And the continent is now short natural gas and paying a high price for it. Russia won't fully open the spigot until Germany certifies Nord Stream 2.
Wow. So what does that tell you, Judd?
They're having some energy issues there.
Yeah. And Russia appears to be the saving grace.
And the United States creates energy issues for itself because we decide the Keystone pipeline is bad.
Yeah.
So we got to get rid of it. And then I bet if Trump comes back, he'd bring back the pipeline. We're going back and forth, you know. Oh, my God.
I feel bad for people who have to build those things.
Yeah, it's like, we work so hard.
Yeah.
Good paying union jobs, right, Biden? Yeah. Not good. Anyways, next section, Eden.
Yeah, battle hardened. So, in 2019, Ukraine elected Volodymyr Zelensky, who wanted to rid his country of corruption and to align up politically with the West. Yeah. And to become a NATO member.
Yeah, you're right.
But
NATO.
President Putin sees Ukraine as part of, of the Western fabric, Slavic peoples who have been intertwined for centuries, which is what I was talking about with them feeling like Russians feeling a bond with Ukraine.
Yeah.
During several visits to Ukraine, this reporter witnessed many Ukrainians' affection for Russia. The two have friends and family living across their borders. Yeah, so for you, some Ukrainians also feel the same way. So like vice versa. President Putin wants President Biden to understand the history. Ukraine can't join NATO because it shares a 1,200-mile border with Russia. But the United States was founded on democratic principles. And while those values are now under threat, Americans still believe in the right of self-determination, a value embraced by many younger Ukrainians who have antipathy toward Russia's leaders. Moreover, Biden explained to Putin that NATO is a defensive organization. Can you zoom in a little bit? My eyes are kind of being strained.
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry, dude.
No, you're good.
My eyes are being strained. Already, former members of the Warsaw Pact have joined forces with NATO. Bulgaria, the Czech Republic, Hungary, Poland, Romania, Slovakia, and the Baltic states of Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania. For President Putin, the fall of the Soviet Union was a tragedy. For NATO to be at his door is even worse.
Wait, so hold on 1 second before we move on.
Yes.
The Warsaw Pact. That's an old group. Am I right?
It clicked in your head, didn't it?
Yep.
Say it.
That's back to during the World War, wasn't it?
Let me look. I'm gonna make sure, guys, I'm not giving you false information.
Don't want to get fact checked by
Yes.
PolitiFact.
The Warsaw Pact was an international military alliance of communist states.
That was formed when?
1955, during the Cold War.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
55.
Yeah. And
The Warsaw
NATO
Pact is a military complement to the Council of... the Warsaw Pact was created in reaction to the integration of West Germany into NATO.
Okay, so NATO and Warsaw are like two separate things. Okay, that's what I
dominated by the
thought.
Soviet Union, the Warsaw Pact was established as a balance of power in NATO. There was no direct military confrontation between the two organizations. Instead, the conflict was fought on an ideological basis and in proxy wars. Both NATO and the Warsaw Pact led to the expansion of the military forces and their integration into the respective blocks.
Okay, all
Does that
right.
make more sense to you now?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Well, it was just like, it just clicked.
Yep.
I was like, oh,
Yeah, so
the
now
former.
you know why it says, yeah. Warsaw
So-
Pact and NATO, yeah.
So is Warsaw Pact still a thing? It says former members of the Warsaw Pact have joined forces with NATO. Bulgaria, Czech Republic, Hungary.
No, it was dissolved on the 1st of July, 1991.
Oh, okay.
Same time the Soviet Union fell.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
All right.
So, anyway, military action against Ukraine is one possibility for Russia, but so is economic pressure. At least 3 times this century, Russia has stopped moving its gas through Ukraine, which gets paid billions each year in transit fees. Russia, though, has agreed to send its gas through Ukraine until 2024. What comes next? President Zelensky spoke with NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg about membership in the organization in 2022, who responded, such an association is up to Ukraine and the sturdy member alliance. We have been at war for 8 years. Russia's president said, in the likelihood
Ukraine.
of floods... Oh.
No, sorry, I just didn't want to confuse people.
Forgive me, Father. Ukraine's president said, in the likelihood of large-scale continuation of a strong escalation by Russia or militants backed. I can't believe I said Russia's president. Backed by the Russian Federation may take place any day. I believe that Russia has pushed Ukraine into NATO. Guys, I am so sorry. Forgive me for that.
I just didn't want to let that slip, and then people will be like, "Wait, what?"
And then you can read this other article. I have one more article, I think, for us.
Okay, so the most accurate news source of all time, CNN.
Shut up. I did this tonight, and I had to think of something. I'm sorry. This is last minute.
Wow, when do we ever use a CNN source? Okay, so
We never do.
Yeah, right.
I'm so sorry, guys. I'm sorry. Jesus, shoot me. Burn me at the stake.
Yeah,
Seriously.
burn him. I'll be at the front center of that. No, I'm just kidding. My own podcast host let me down. My own co-host, he let me down. I'm gonna burn you at the stake with the rest of them.
No. I let off a stinker there, guys.
Yeah. Ew.
Seriously. Anyway, though.
That's my sound for the CNN article.
Yeah.
Anyways, so maybe it's helpful. Let's see. Let's find out.
On today's episode of Off the Good Podcast,
we're gonna see what CNN article is actually helpful.
New section of our podcast.
You know, I was thinking, real quick. I was thinking,
tangent, guys.
Yeah, I was thinking of what if we did a episode or a segment of our podcast where we see what stupid articles we find on the New York Times or something. What's the dumbest article we found?
Olympic athletes.
Yeah.
Damn it.
A whole segment.
We should have made us.
You know, that's the thing. I think we should go back into coming up with a
weekly
segment.
Geek Freak or something that we did. Yeah.
Yeah, but this time instead of doing a gaming section, we could do a segment about something silly the news media does or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Like President, some son of a son of a bee comment.
I don't know. There's so many silly things that come out from especially the New York Times and CNN and just bringing out their stupidity and making it known.
Yes.
I think we should do something like that.
Dude, let's do it next podcast. Let's try it.
Yeah, we can
try it out. Let me see if you guys like it.
Yeah, we'll see what we can find, and we might interchange with the segments we do. But yeah. I think I want to go back to doing some segments again because we can do clips and put it back up.
Now that we can actually do
YouTube,
it. Yeah.
Anyways, back to the article here from CNN.
Right?
The prospect of an imminent Russian invasion of Ukraine has heightened alarm in the region, threatening to plunge the country's 44 million inhabitants further into the grips of conflict. But a move by the Kremlin would also ripple far beyond the two nations' shared border. Experts fear it could usher in a new era of uncertainty in Eastern Europe, disrupt supply chains and the global economy, and force a shift in geopolitical influence that damages the credibility of the West. These fears could yet be averted. The Ukrainian government is downplaying the imminent or immediate risks of a full-scale invasion, even as officials on all sides scramble to find a diplomatic solution of a standoff that the Biden administration warns is precariously close to war. If an incursion does occur, which it is unclear what form it could take, and predicting the intentions of Russian President Vladimir Putin is a notoriously unwise exercise. Quote, any contemporary warfare would be horrifying, but there are gradations. I was trying to say graduations. I'm like, that don't make sense. Gradations to the horror, said Nigel Gould-Davies, a former British ambassador to Belarus, who is now senior fellow for Russia and Eurasia at the International Institute for Strategic Studies. Think tank. The effectiveness of a NATO-led response is also crucial in determining how long and far-reaching the impacts of an invasion would be, analysts agree. But any Russian move would carry a test of Western nations' resolve and pose a series of economic and security uncertainties. And, quote, this is easily the most serious security crisis in Europe since the 1980s.
Which I agree with.
Said Gould Davies.
Agree with that?
Yeah.
That's during the Cold War era, so, like, yeah.
Quote, Russia and the West have disagreed so fundamentally on worldview, and the fundamental disagreement has been swept under the carpet for years, added James Nixie, director of the Russia-Eurasia program at London-based think tank Chatham House. As the threat of a Russian move into Ukraine has grown, so too has the volume of the West rhetoric.
Oh my God.
U.S. President Joe Biden told CNN Tuesday there would be, quote, severe consequences over any Russian invasion. Well, that wasn't exactly what he said. You kind of missed a huge portion of that. British Prime Minister Boris... Yeah, because he said a minor incursion stuff, unless they're talking about a separate thing. I don't know. Because they try to play cleanup every time Biden talks. Yeah. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson said the country would contribute to any new NATO development in the wake of an attack, while French President Emmanuel Macron said that the cost will be very high if Putin decides to move. But the, quote, scale of the global reaction depends on the extent of Russia's insertion into Ukraine.
That's true.
Is it just the tip? Nixie added that while many observers are cautiously optimistic that an all-out war will be averted, quote, I've been wrong before, as most Russia analysts have. Ukraine borders several NATO states. Oh, that's scary for Russia. There will be a great deal of concern that is not just something happening nearby that could have spillover effects, but that their security would be threatened, Gould Davies said. If Russia is allowed or not discouraged from redrawing borders yet again, then quite clearly Russia will take lessons from that itself. Where next? Added Nixie. Much would then depend on the NATO response, and countries that could find themselves in the firing line would quickly notice an increased troop presence. As many as 8,500 troops have been put on heightened alert for a possible deployment into Eastern Europe, Pentagon spokesman John Kirby said Monday. 3 U.S. officials familiar with the discussions also told CNN that the United States and allies could send extra deployments to Romania, Bulgaria, and Hungary in the coming days.
I think they're expecting Russia to do something with them afterwards, so, I mean...
Now, the question is, why... Now, and I heard... I think Shapiro talked about it as well. Why are they sending deployments into Romania, Bulgaria, and Hungary? Are they
expecting Russia to do stuff after Ukraine? Dude, Putin, I don't think is just going for Ukraine. I mean, that's what he says, but you know him. You know what he wants.
Well, what I'm
Putin's
hoping...
playbook, right?
Right.
I mean...
But think about this, though. I mean...
He wants the world, dude. I mean, we all know that.
Well, yeah, we know he's a very dangerous man, but what I don't understand is... And maybe they're splitting troops up, and that I'd be fine with that. But, like, have some troops...
you mean with us?
Yeah,
yeah.
Like, maybe send some of the troops over into these neighboring countries.
We need these troops in Ukraine, though, right now.
Obviously, Ukraine is the main...
right now,
the big worry here. But also, we do want to worry about our friends over in Romania, Bulgaria, and Hungary.
Our NATO allies, yes.
Our other NATO allies. We want to make sure they're protected, just as a security blanket right now. But also, I want to make sure... I want to make sure there's enough troops by Ukraine, close to Ukraine, like in case something happens. Yeah. Or, hey...
Why haven't we gotten jets in the air yet?
I mean,
first of all...
If Ukraine's okay with it, like, having our U.S. troops in the actual...
country.
In the country.
Yeah.
Because last thing...
the streets.
And, last thing they want to do is attack a U.S. troop. That would be like...
Goodbye.
It's like Thanos,
You have the best training in the world, so, I mean, yeah.
The last thing that... If the U.S. was attacked by Russia, say if there was,
invasion in New York City.
Oh my God, no! I mean, say if in Ukraine, say we had troops on the ground, and Russia decided they accidentally hit U.S. troops, and they're like, oh shit,
drop the sun on them. Yeah,
they're like, oh wait, oh no, too late now.
Invasion in Moscow within 24 hours. Oh my God!
I mean, it would be an immediate response.
Can you imagine Abrams tanks rolling down Moscow, just blasting his palace, and just like. Let's go.
I could totally see that happening.
Yes.
That would give us a good excuse to blow him off the face of the map. You attacked us first, buddy.
I'm the fortunate one. Yes.
Yeah, baby.
Oh man.
Anyways, where were we? Ukraine is...
What is a kilometer? Oh, that's such a good TikTok. Oh, that's so good.
Okay.
Ukraine, right?
Ukraine is not a NATO member, obviously, and the alliance would likely not send soldiers into the country. But following an incursion,
I hope we would though. Still,
I would hope so. Let's not rely solely on NATO.
Yeah,
I mean,
know there are a bunch of countries, but still,
like seriously, they're helpful, yes, but we need to make our own decisions.
the most powerful military on earth.
I don't rely on an alliance to decide whether we are going to attack or not, or defend a country. I mean, even if we don't fire a bullet, one single bullet at a Russian troop,
we need patrols.
At least have patrols, have protection. I don't want Ukraine to fall.
Yeah,
and kind of going off the rails here a little bit, but I heard some conservative podcast hosts that are not wanting the U.S. to get involved in this at all. I'm like, are you stupid?
Hold on. What are they saying though?
They're
saying
we don't need to get involved in foreign politics. It's like, no, we've always been involved.
You gotta remember what I said though about countries like the Middle East. You gotta remember what I said though. What do we do? What do we do to countries, especially one like Russia, who absolutely hates the idea of democracy?
Right.
Their citizens would be absolutely demolished.
But the thing is,
we go into countries and we leave them to die. I mean, that's what we do a lot of the time. But then again, you are right, though. That's the Middle East. Russia does have its own government, so maybe we could... Maybe you're right. Maybe we could get involved because they're different than
and
the Middle East. And they don't... Yeah.
Like I said, I'm not saying that we need to get involved in every single conflict, but I think these podcast hosts are wrong when they say not to get involved in Ukraine. Now...
Do you mean solely on the aspect of making sure no one gets hurt? Or killed, you're saying?
See, the thing is, though,
where do you draw the line, though? That's what I'm asking.
I think what we need to look at here before we make any judgments, we need to look at whether Ukraine really wants to be, wants our help.
Look at what President Zelensky says about us. We'll try to help, yes.
Like the whole issue with Vietnam. We talk about that.
We don't even have to go that far. I mean, think about it. Like the Middle East.
Right, but with Vietnam, did they really need our help? Did they want our help, or did we push ourselves into it? We pushed
ourselves in there because of communism.
Right. And we use that as an excuse.
Yep.
But...
I mean, you don't see any parallels, though?
I see parallels. I see it. However, I think we need to be we need to be smarter with our involvement here.
Yeah.
Do we just do sanctions and then leave it at that? It depends
how... As they said that Putin's not going to listen, which I do believe that, by the way.
Yeah, which I believe it too. But
yes.
It also depends on whether Ukraine even wants our assistance. Because if Ukraine is no, we want to become part of Russia, or we can handle... We
want to fight them ourselves, yeah.
Yeah, or we can handle it ourselves, then okay.
Hands off,
then.
We'll watch you fall if that's what it takes. We tried to help, but...
I'll do some more research on what Ukraine...
is actually wanting
in this situation, because that decides a huge amount of our support, how we go about dealing with this.
Yeah.
I don't want to just go into another war for no reason. I think
Hold on, let me...
Is Aiden looking it up right now?
Keep going on a rant, because I want...
All right, I'll keep this going. But
I'm wanting to say something really quick.
So keep going, Aiden. Anyways, Russia, they want to get... They want Ukraine to be part of their territory, but it's that doesn't necessarily mean that's good for the rest of Europe.
Yeah.
And that kind of depends on, does Ukraine want that for them? It's the same kind of thing with...
Okay.
North Korea and South
Found
Korea?
this. So Zelensky criticizes Biden.
Okay.
Talks of war with Russia a mistake. Following a contentious phone call the day before the Ukrainian, and this is from U.S. News. So, following a contentious phone call the day before, the Ukrainian president told reporters on Friday he hopes the U.S. will dial back its dramatic assessments of the threat Russia poses. This is from the president himself.
Okay.
Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky appealed to his American counterpart to dial back his appraisals of the threat Russia poses to the former Soviet state, also criticizing President Joe Biden for his dramatic decision to remove the families of the U.S. diplomats from Kiev this month. Quote, because the White House understands that there are risks, they keep articulating this. They keep supporting this theme, this topic, and they make it as acute, as burning as possible, Zelensky said through a translator in an almost 90-minute press conference in the Ukrainian capital with foreign journalists. The same conference, mind you, that Biden was having with all the leaders, right?
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, this is a mistake. Ukrainian officials have in recent days attempted to quietly tamp down international fears of imminent war with Russia, an apparent extension of concerns in Kiev that a panic could spur widespread economic and societal backlash, and has taken on new significance to the ongoing fallout of a call, the exact substance of which remains unclear between the two leaders on Thursday. Zelensky took particular objection Friday to the U.S. decision to recall home families of diplomats in Kiev over concerns of a potential Russian invasion. Secretary of State Antony Blinken this week also encouraged all other Americans to leave Ukraine, saying the U.S. may not have the capabilities to assist them if military action commences. Quote, the situation with the diplomats, Zelensky said, I think these are redundant and want steps that don't help us, end quote. Quote, these steps are not contributing to our situation, he added, noting also that military and financial support that the U.S. has escalated in recent weeks following Russia's months-long troop buildup at its borders with Ukraine. The Ukrainian leader's public remarks on Friday following ongoing scrutiny into his phone call with Biden the day before, in which the two reportedly disagreed as to the imminence of the threat of invasion that Russia poses. Several news outlets reported that Biden told Zelensky that Kiev could be sacked, and for Ukraine to, quote, prepare for impact, prompting a White House National Security Council spokesperson to issue a rare objection. This is not true. President Biden said that there was a distinct possibility that the Russians could invade Ukraine in February. He has previously said this publicly, and we have been warning about this for months. Reports of anything more or different than that are completely false. Other reports indicate Zelensky told Biden in a phone call that the Russian military threat is not imminent, while Biden reportedly warned that an invasion could come as soon as February when the ground freezes. So what do you get from that? From that little thing?
Or are they trying to say that...
Basically, Zelensky is disagreeing with everything Biden's saying.
So they don't want our support?
He's trying to downplay the invasion as a whole now. I don't know if that means that...
That doesn't necessarily mean that
with-
he wouldn't support
Right.
like their help.
Right. But, I mean, he's not okay with what he's saying, though, at least.
So they have a different
I mean,
outlook
I don't know
on
if
this.
that gives you any perspective into what is going on, because you were asking about Ukraine and what they're thinking, but I don't know if that helped at all. But
Well, basically, they're
what did you get
saying
from that?
Ukraine's saying they don't think Russia's going to attack.
Yep.
Okay.
They think that they're playing it. They think that they're playing it up, and I mean, I don't think so. But so, what do we do at that point? Like, if they're so confident that,
Right.
do we just say, okay, hands off? Like,
I mean, if they're so confident in the fact that
that changed something.
they're
didn't
going to be okay.
it? Yeah, that's from U.S. News, guys. That all covered, by the way.
So I guess if they're okay with it and they're fine with the situation they're in now, then
But then again, though,
I just hate to
they're
see
gonna. But then they might go back on us years from now. But like, why didn't you help us?
they're like, well, did you even pay attention to what you just said?
Right?
Like, or years ago, like you said, hey, you don't need our help.
Yeah.
We don't need help.
Yeah.
Russia's not going to attack.
I mean, I'm sorry, guys, but you guys are a small country. Like,
Like we want to help people.
yeah.
And especially if it's in our interest, like it's in our interest too. Think about that. Like we've been talking about Ukraine and like Europe's interests and all this, but like what about our interests? Like letting Ukraine be taken over by Russia is just empowering Russia.
Not just a threat to Ukraine, but also to us.
Yeah, like they're making...
It gives them confidence, which is what they don't need.
You know, do we want them to... do we want them to gain more ground? Huh?
Makes them hard, kind of.
Yeah.
Like, seriously. But seriously, though, like...
I don't know. Do we want them to become more powerful is the question.
No. But then again, if they don't want to help, that's kind of going against...
And also, like,
what Ukraine wants.
Look how bad that would look on Biden and his administration, especially for the midterms coming up.
Oh, shoot.
Think of the Republican ads that will come out of this midterm.
Look at what Biden did to Afghanistan and Russia.
In 1 year.
Yeah.
Or
Shapiro did a review of Biden's 1 year. That was awesome. I freaking loved it.
Like a grade, was it?
Have you seen it?
I think so,
Oh, horrible. But...
It's funny.
But seriously, though, like, what do we do, though? That's confusing now, because it's like, oh, man.
Like, you don't really know how to go about this, because there's, like, we have interest in this.
What would Trump do in this situation, you know?
What would Trump do?
WWTD.
It's like, instead, what would Jesus do? What would Trump do?
No, but seriously, though, like, so what do you think about that, dude, since reading that? That kind of changes things, I mean...
Well, okay, let's try to put our mind in, or let's go into Trump's mind here. See, what would he think if he was president right now?
Yeah, what
maybe he has his own opinion on this. I don't know if he ever spoke out about this whole issue.
I didn't research.
But
what do you think?
But I think if Trump was involved in this, I think he would. I think up to this point, he'd be doing about the same thing that Biden is doing, except without the gaffes and saying, with a small incursion kind of thing. Trump wouldn't have said that.
Ha! Found something.
All right, go ahead.
Trump says Ukraine-Russia crisis is a European problem, and Russia owns Germany because of Nord Stream 2 pipeline.
Okay. Does that mean that we don't get involved?
Hold on. Let me read this. Former President Donald Trump said Russia controls Germany because of its dependence on Russian gas. That said the Russia-Ukraine crisis is a, quote, European problem. Europe should be totally involved, Trump told conservative radio host Glenn Beck on Saturday. Speaking about growing fears of a possible Russian invasion of Ukraine, Germany made a deal with Russia with the pipeline, and Nord Stream is a disaster, Trump said, referring to an undersea Russia-to-Germany gas pipeline. And it makes sense that he would talk about the economics of it because he's a businessman.
Yeah.
So, and I'm the one that brought that up. Nobody even knew about it. I used to talk about it all the time. Then they'd say, oh, he's weak on Russia. Putin would say, you're killing me with this pipeline, but I got it stopped. The controversial gas pipeline Nord Stream 2 is designed to double the gas flowing. Okay. Project faced criticism. You already know all this. As President Trump approved sanctions targeting firms building Nord Stream 2, but President Joe Biden waived them last May. The $11 billion pipeline finished in September, but it's not yet operational pending German certification. Speaking to Glenn Beck, Trump said that the pipeline was one of the dumbest moves I've ever seen. They claim that Germany will get over 70% of their energy from Russia. That means Russia controls them. Russia owns Germany, Trump says.
Wow.
They're getting their energy from Russia, so Russia has total control over Germany, and Germany's saying, oh, well, we don't want to fight them. They can't fight them because of what's happening with the energy. However, critics have accused Berlin of prioritizing the pipeline and not going forward to support Ukraine in the face of Russian aggression. Okay. In his interview with Glenn Beck, Trump criticized Biden's negotiation tactics and suggested that Russian President Vladimir Putin was now emboldened to invade Ukraine. I think 2 weeks ago he had no intention of doing it. He was just negotiating and doing his shtick, which he likes to do, Trump said. And now he's seeing it's like a clear path because of the stupid people he's dealing with.
Wow.
Let's talk about Biden there. Wow. So what do you get from that, Jared?
Well, what do you get from it?
Is that he's basically...
Oops, sorry.
Basically, the whole thing is that he basically talking about what he can talk about is the economics of it, basically.
Yeah.
But it's like it's true. Europe does control Germany right now because of that pipeline.
Yeah. More specifically, Russia, right?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah.
Wow.
But then again, he makes comments all the time, though, so it's like, I don't know.
Is it? We need to read all the rest of this. What else is...
I didn't even know that there was a.
There's a lot here. Okay. So Ukraine is not a NATO member. I think we already went over that. There is going to have to be a response all along that NATO front line that acts as a deterrent, and you have to have a whole war-fighting strategy around that, said Neil Melvin, Director of International Security Studies at the Royal United Services Institute.
Yes.
Quote, in Europe, this would change things enormously. Because we're so far from thinking in those terms, he added, Melvin predicted that nations would require, quote, large enough forces to fight for a long period, to bring in new forces from the U.S. and to fight cyber dimensions.
So talk about
like cyber attacks and stuff.
Yeah.
Experts said that the reverberations of an incursion and more pertinently the strength of the Western response will be felt worldwide. Some fear that any Russian move that could chalk up as a victory could encourage other nations engaged in border disputes. You know, and this I guess is going into China here. China will be watching carefully for
That's
lessons
why I chose this article.
that it can draw about Western resolve. Gould Davies said the Taiwanese are going to draw lessons from that, or as is anybody in a border dispute, despite living next to a vastly superior leader, agreed Nixie. Taiwan and mainland China have been governed separately since the end of the Chinese Civil War more than 70 years ago.
He has something to talk about after this. He has something to talk about.
Yeah. But China's ruling Chinese Communist Party, CCP, sees the island as part of its territory and has not ruled out military force to take it. So Taiwan...
That's what we were talking about.
So Taiwan was independent for 70 years?
Yeah.
Wow.
From China.
It's crazy to think it was that long. The context is underscoring a sense in some quarters that the U.S. response to the Ukraine crisis could dictate how it is viewed around the world for a generation. So that kind of, is all more important for how the U.S. handles this situation. What do you think, Aiden?
There's a lot of different moving parts here.
Yeah.
On one hand, I don't think Ukraine wants us to get involved, but yet we got to show China that we're not messing around either, though. So, I mean, not only Russia, but so China.
Because, again, like I just said, when the U.S. becomes weak on the world stage...
They notice.
Other world powers take notice, and they're like, well, okay, well, if that's how the U.S. is going to handle Ukraine, then we'll just go ahead and snatch up Taiwan here without them... They won't do...
Why, you guys are distracted.
Yeah, they won't do shit, I mean, it's scary to think that, this has implications on what the world thinks about us. Like, every move we do is under a microscope.
Yeah, especially by people that don't like us.
Yeah.
I mean,
Russia and China and...
They don't like us that much. I mean,
yeah.
They don't like us.
No, they're not our friends. They're kind of like a frenemy.
Yeah.
Because we kind of
Russia's more of a frenemy than China's just basically they're all enemies.
Yeah. But the thing is, though, we still do commerce with them. So...
What they could do to us.
Like, if we went to a war with China, we'd be devastated.
Whoa!
That'd be devastating.
Without trade and stuff.
Yeah.
Could shut down our trade market.
Yeah.
Biden, the next 4 years of your presidency are going to suck. They're going to get us involved with Russia, and then since China's their ally, they're going to
think we got
nope.
To think we got 3 more years of this buffoon.
We're not going to have a country anymore, an economy.
1 year, and we're already, in the toilet.
We're making China pissed, we're making Russia pissed. It's
Yeah.
Anyway, so...
My God.
We would be... Wait.
Oh, the context is underscoring a sense in some quarters that the U.S. response be felt for generation. We would be seeing knock-on effects for years and maybe decades to come if Russia orchestrates a successful move, Sales said. that is going to tell dictators around the world that the U.S. is a paper tiger.
Weak, like we said.
Yep. He cited rogue regimes like North Korea and Iran. Oh, God, those are scary.
Oh, gosh, to think that they could get involved.
As other nations that could seek to capitalize on such an outcome. But Sales added, there's also exists a scenario where the U.S. and NATO come out of this crisis with their credibility enhanced should a strong response initiate a Russian climb down.
I hope.
Should lengthy tensions follow a Russian incursion, a debate could also be renewed in the U.S. about what role the country should play in Europe. They have a very stark political divide now between a global policeman role,
Hey, that's what we said, yes.
which I've been using that term for a while, which Biden has advocated, which is good,
Yeah.
or the other camp that we only do what's in the U.S. interests. Said Melvin.
What a name.
How many different people are talking here? I'm getting quite confused. But anyways, like, that's the other thing, dude. We mentioned...
I don't think we need to read that last part because we basically be talking about that.
Yeah.
Everyone is watching everyone else. We're talking about that right now.
Yeah.
And that's the end of that. So,
Well,
anyway, though, yeah.
So, like... But
Like,
that's exactly what we just said.
About
the
US
global
interests,
policemen and interest...
U.S. interests versus global peacekeepers. What should be...
What should be our role?
I guess this is what the podcast shifted to, I guess. What should be our role?
Yeah, the big question here.
Yeah. What do you think? What do you think about this? I want to hear what you have to say. It's just hard.
No, everyone's on the edge of their seats right now.
Right.
Waiting for a Jared response.
Joe's hot take.
Yeah, I'm getting ready here. Stretch my fingers out. I really do think that there's I like to think that there's a middle ground on this.
Yes.
You can't just go one way and say we're always the policeman, we're always going to get involved in every single situation. That's a bad idea because we're going to get involved in everything. There's going to be some implications like, with Vietnam, like was
Saigon?
that Saigon, what that was a bad move on the US's part. Now, the question is...
Oh, you missed that one. Try another.
Try another. You missed that one. Try another.
Try another country. You missed that one. Oh my
you
gosh.
missed that one. Try another.
Seriously. Seriously though, like, I agree with you. It's we've made. Here's our problem. We have become so powerful, it's almost to a fault.
Yeah.
Like, we've become so powerful that everyone's watching us constantly.
Yeah.
I mean, at one point Biden's an idiot, but I kind of feel bad for the guy.
Yeah.
Like, like for any U.S. president, I feel bad for. They have such a role to play.
He has all that weight on his shoulders,
Yeah. Like, think about that. Like, what do you do? Like, what do you even do, man?
That's the thing.
You either piss off your enemies by being a global policeman, and maybe piss off Ukraine, depending on what he's thinking based on what I read there.
Yeah.
Like, or you do nothing and keep us safe, but a whole country falls. And then people might later say that was on your hands. They might say that. They might not, but they might. What do you think?
The thing is, though, it's like this is kind of a U.S. interest kind of situation.
Okay.
Like I said just a little bit ago, letting Russia take over Ukraine, they've already taken over. What was the other country that they took over?
You mean Crimea?
Yeah, Crimea. Sorry, I've had a brain fart there for a second.
Hold on.
But they annexed They annexed them.
I think Crimea is a city, though. I don't think it's a. Is it a country?
I think so.
Yeah, Crimea is a peninsula. Yeah. It's a country.
But I think this is going to have implications on, on the world stage, but also like in the U.S. interest field because,
dude, oh god, I didn't think about that. The grocery stores.
Yeah.
Oh god,
and we talked about this way before we started this podcast.
Oh
earlier in the
God,
week.
the Russia invade. Oh God,
It disrupts supply chain. If we already don't have an issue with that.
enough.
Yeah, we already have enough of a problem with supply chain right now, thanks to Biden. But
Yeah.
like, this
Who's
could
gonna-
be
yeah.
exemplified more.
Dude, gas prices is going to be affected the most.
Yeah,
There's a reason why Putin's choosing to invade now. Like, there's a reason.
yeah.
What do we do, Jared? To all of the sons out there that are wondering, what do we do with Russia? What do we do with Ukraine? What do we do about this whole situation? Ugh.
I
Because
wish.
now there are factors that I've realized in this podcast now that I didn't realize before.
And the thing is, like I said, other podcast hosts that I like to watch.
You think some of them are wrong, you're saying?
They were kind of wrong. At least one of them was wrong when he's like, well, we shouldn't get involved in this because this is a conflict that is like, it's not even in our country. It has nothing to do with us. It's like, let's just not get involved. Well, I disagree with that. I think that there's implications that could get us involved somewhat. We have to get involved.
Yeah.
Just because it's not in our country doesn't mean that we don't need to get
care.
involved, that we shouldn't care.
Yeah.
Now, the question is, what kind of involvement should
Yeah,
we
I was
have?
going to ask, like, how deep should we go into this?
Yeah, how deep should we get involved? Like, I don't know. I don't know, but
should we have patrols in Ukrainian streets? Should we just focus on the economics of it?
I do agree with Biden when he was wanting to send 8,500 troops in.
Yep.
I think we need to have them in those countries, on the bordering countries, just in case something
Should we have
does
them
happen.
in Ukraine, though?
Yeah.
You think so? Even if he's saying that, if Zelensky's saying that you still think we should just because of security reasons?
Again, I think
That might piss off.
again
might piss him off,
in
though.
that article though, Zelensky never said that he didn't want help.
That he doesn't support it if it comes, yes.
So
They said they thought it was a, yeah.
So if I was Biden, I would be talking to Zelensky and saying, okay, do you want any of these troops in your country?
Do you want help or not? Yeah.
Is the question. Now maybe he could be like, well, if you don't want troops in the country now, what we're going to do is we're going to send it into, Bulgaria or something.
Romania, what they've been doing, yeah.
Yeah, we're going to have them stationed there. They'll be close by if you need them. We can send them in at a moment's notice if we need it. But, if you're not quite ready, just let me know.
Yeah.
If you need
Extend that
us,
offer, yes.
yeah, extend the offer and say, okay, well, we're here, we're your friends. Don't get in a fight with us because we're the good guys. We're with you.
Yeah.
So reach out to us if you need help.
Yeah.
But if you feel like you don't need it right now, that's fine. That's
the whole thing, though. I think the whole problem with Ukraine's president right now is that he's downplaying the whole thing.
And
he
maybe
thinks it's not as much an issue as it might actually be.
And maybe that's at his fault. Maybe that's his
that's
problem.
what I'm saying. Yeah, maybe that's his fault.
And maybe that's a good idea because, to have it as his fault is what I'm saying. Because if we take the blame for something, which I don't want to do.
We can't afford that, especially with something with Russia.
And also coming from Biden's standpoint, if you're trying to get reelected, and which I don't think
midterms,
yeah, midterms and stuff like this, there's a lot that is on the line here.
And this will be talked about, probably. This will be talked about.
Yeah, and how Biden handles this.
Yeah,
if Biden
this is huge.
If Biden wants a good, midterms,
good campaign or whatever,
then he's gonna have to respond to this very carefully.
Yeah.
And not just jump the gun and be like, okay, we're sending troops in no matter what.
Or jump the gun and say, oh, we're not doing anything.
Yeah, at all. So maybe just say, like I just said,
send them into Romania and Bulgaria, all those places.
And just say, hey, we're on.
At least they could say you did something to try to help. Yeah.
We're on standby in case you need us.
help, but without making them mad.
Yeah. I think that's the way to go about it.
Yeah.
And,
I agree.
And I think that we could, come back to this later on if
new information comes out.
New information, new developments.
If the war actually starts.
If it actually develops into a war, full-on war.
Yeah.
We'll have more information to talk about. But, I think that's pretty much it for this podcast.
Yeah. I think right now all we're saying is that all the chess pieces are being
carefully
primed.
moved.
They're being primed.
Yeah. for a potential serious attack.
There was one more thing I did want to talk about though before we end tonight.
Yeah.
The whole China situation, because we haven't really talked about that yet. What do you think about the whole China-Taiwan situation?
Well,
Because
I think we already kind of stated it, like, I mean, China's going to look at this situation and judge how we react to it.
Yeah.
And maybe they might try doing something while this whole issue's going on and be like, oh, well, you didn't see that happen. And then slowly take, or quickly take Taiwan. I mean, oh my God, they could blow them right off the face of the earth.
Yeah.
That's a tiny country compared to China.
Compared to even Ukraine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, China can do whatever the hell
We'll
they
be
want.
distracted by Russia, and then China comes in, and it's like, oh. We look back and I'm like, what did you guys do? Oh, nothing. We just took a whole country. Nothing.
Was that always part of China? I don't know.
What?
Maybe.
Like, seriously, like.
I don't know. We were busy with Russia.
It just scares me, though, because it's like, not only do we have to deal with the economics of Russia, but also, like, the thing that scares me the most, and I'll end with this, too. The thing that scares me. Freaking China is playing with us. They're freaking playing with us. But the whole trade and the national debt thing, like, I don't know if that goes into any, like, if that relates to this at all, but,
yeah,
like...
I don't know.
But they're playing with us, though. The trade, they could do so much, is all I'm trying to say.
Yeah, it's all a big game
Yeah,
for them.
yeah.
I guess we'll see what happens in all this.
Yeah, I think that's it, though. We covered everything I think we could cover, right?
Yeah, so stay tuned for next time. We'll for next week. Plan on having a good, fun-packed information podcast for you.
Yes. I don't know
not-
what the topic will be yet, but...
Don't know the topic yet. I have some queued up though.
Oh, you have to tell me.
So we'll I guess it'll be a surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah. So see you guys next time.
See ya.